Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Adam at ND72. So we're back in the garage with my E55. So what we're going to be doing today is like a mod I've been kind of wanting to do. It's going to help me go faster. It's going to help me all around. And I think it'll make the car look a little bit cooler. So what we're going to be doing today is changing out my wheel and tire setup. So, if you guys know, I got the COK 320. Basically, super lightweight, 16 by 7 inch wheels. They do good. They have a 275 tire on it. But if you remember last time I took the car to the track, I just couldn't hook up. If there's crappy prep out, these tires aren't really the best tires. I mean, they are drag radials. I just felt like there was too many times where I'll go somewhere and it'll be just shitty prep. And then the car is almost useless on the track. And I don't really want the car to be like that. I don't want to have perfect prep and perfect this and perfect that. So what I decided to do is kind of upgrade my wheel and tire package. And I'll show you what I got over here. Bam! So what I got here is some HYPERGRAMS 17 by 10. So these are going to be 3 inches wide around the rims, and they're wrapped in, what? A 305/45/17 drag radial Mickey Thompsons. So these are going to be so much more stickier of a tire. The contact patch is going to be so much wider. So we're going from a 7-inch rim on a 275 to a 10-inch rim on a 305. So there should be plenty of traction. I'm going to hope I can sneak it in under there. And it's a 17, so it should clear brake calipers and all that stuff. And the benefit of this, they have so many other sizes where I easily get a matching set in the front. Because I'm not saying I don't like this look. It just doesn't do the car well. And yes, I know my doors are effed up. Those will get painted soon, hopefully. But at least want to make the car look a little bit nicer. So I'm hoping I could squeeze these under here, which I should be able to, because a lot of people run like 295s and all that stuff. So a 305 hopefully will sneak under there. I might have to adjust my suspension a little bit, because these are also a taller tire. So I'm going from a 25.7 inch tall tire to a 28 inch tall tire. So this all around should just be a better, grippier tire. And these rims, they're not super heavy. I originally was going to go with the with weld rims, but welds, first of all, are expensive. Second of all, are not light rims when you actually find out how much they weigh. The welds in this spec were about 25 pounds. These, I weighed them myself on my scale, 17 pounds for the rims. So that is a good weight saving compared to the welds, but these weighed 13 pounds. So I am adding weight, and these tires are bigger, so I'm adding more weight on the rear corners, so that might hurt a little bit, but I'm hoping the grip will counter it. So we're going to throw these on, get them all up there, make sure they all fit, make sure I don't got too much adjustment suspension, and see what happens. Okay, here is the contact patch difference. Let me actually get them side by side, but I also want to show you the height difference. So there is going to be a pretty big height difference, which I should be okay with that. And then let me show you the contact patch. Let me put my phone down, camera. Like, look at that. You could just see this is like almost 2 inches maybe, just give or take, but that's a pretty big chunk right there of difference in just overall contact patch. This is also going to be a stickier tire, and originally I had spacers that poked it out quite a bit, so hopefully I'll be dropping these spacers. I shouldn't need them for that, but what I will be doing is changing out these studs, because these studs don't work for that. No big deal. Oops, sorry about that noise. I ordered a new set of studs that are actually going to be a little bit longer and do better with these wheels. If I remember, I'll put a link below where to get these studs at. They're relatively cheap. The only disadvantage of what I have to look at, this kit came with 19-inch nuts, so I'll just have to look for find some other ones, which is not that big of a deal. But we're going to pull these studs off, just do it the same way. Make sure you always get ones with a little Allen and a little stopper. And we'll pull these studs off and throw those tires on. All right, now that we got all the old studs out, we're just going to clean it out with some brake clean. Just in case there's any like weird extra Loctite in there. And then we'll let it dry for a little bit. All right, whichever stud you pick, make sure that, whoops, just dropped the socket. Make sure you put some blue Loctite on there. And you want, like, you see that little nub right there? You want to make sure it goes past the rotor, but won't, like, go all the way through down there. Because you want that to be the stopper so you can torque them down. And that way you don't have to take studs off every time you want to do brakes. Or anytime you need to change the rotor or do anything weird like that. So I got these 3 in there. I'm going to put them all in there, torque them down, and then start throwing the wheel on. All right, they're all torqued down. So now it's going to be the moment of truth to see if this wheel fits. And these tires are directional, so make sure you put them on the right way. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, look at that. It looks like it's going to clear the fender almost perfectly. I'm still a little concerned just for the height I have the vehicle. So these do clear the rotors. It spins perfectly fine and everything like that. I'm going to take this wheel right back off. I'm going to raise the car up a little bit. Just because if you remember how hard it sunk down on those, and this is a taller tire, I don't want to just in case hit something over there. So we're going to raise the car up a lot right now and see what it looks like. Okay, I need to lift it a lot. So this was one turn on the springs, and as you can see, I am 100% rubbing. So I need to lift this a real lot, because right now it's touching before you even launch. Like, that's pretty bad, but they, like, oh, it's so good on the fender. It's just kind of hitting a little over there. So we'll lift this up a lot more instead of just one turn. I'm going to say like maybe 5 turns, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so we got the rear rims on. So we lifted the car quite a bit, almost as a max. I have another inch I can lift it, but there's a little bit of a gap that I can fit like basically 2 fingers in there, which is kind of good for some people. So here's one thing that I did have an issue with. These tires are a little bit too wide on this setup. They are getting really close to the inner fender. So the issue I have on this side, this passenger side, there's a lot of stuff behind that fender, like basically my intercooler lines, fuel lines, a lot of stuff. So this side was rubbing a little bit. So what I did is I took my fender out and then my fender fell to pieces. And then also, this side I added the 15 mil spacer. So I ordered a new fender, so we're going to put it on. But like, so there's the poke with the 15 mil spacer, which isn't too bad. I might lift it a little bit, but I want to do some more testing because I did order the fronts. We'll be here in this video. So before I keep messing with the rear suspension, I want to take the front one, which is going to be lifted up too, and the new tires and wheels over there. But I want to show you the difference. So there's a poke with a 15 mil, and then you come over here, this is flush. So this, personally to me, looks so much nicer. But the issue is that side has a lot of stuff on it. So my idea is 2 things. Either I might order 10 mil spacers, or I'm going to try to reroute a lot of that piping, because the biggest thing was the intercooler. Because how my intercooler goes, it goes from the tank over this fender, down, up and over. So I might just reroute that, and then that'll clear me. Because it's not too bad, but I just like this looks so much better. So we'll see. Even if not, maybe I'll just get a 10 mil and I'll pull it out a little bit, because this is a big 15 mil. So not bad, but my rims should be here tomorrow from Tire Rack. So I'll throw those on the front, and then we'll actually adjust the whole suspension, because maybe once I lift that side up, it might lift that a little bit, and then I don't have to worry about dealing with any of that rear stuff anymore. Okay, so we're back with the E55. So I let it sit for a couple days. I still wasn't fully happy with the ride height yet. I didn't go drive the car yet or nothing like that, just because I was like, I don't want to rub. So before I keep messing with the rear, I wanted to get the front done right. So yeah, these are also the BC coilovers that are easy adjustable. These are a lot easier than the rears, I'll tell you that. The rear I didn't really show you. I think I've showed it like when I install these. It does suck. You have to drop like the whole control arm and everything out, then go and then put it all back together. It really does suck. So before I start tearing back into that, and because I broke a bolt that I have overriding from Mercedes, I want to try to get the front ready, because hopefully I'm hoping the front lifts up and will help bring the rear up a little bit. So now the front. Now yeah, I could keep these rims. They're not bad looking rims. They are dirty, but they just don't really go with it. So what I did is I ordered up from Tire Rack, that got here in 2 or 3 days, a nice cool set of rims that I think will really complement the HYPERGRAMS. I'll show you them right over here. So right over here is the package I got from Tire Rack. So the benefit I like ordering from Tire Rack, 'cause I know I was going to have to go new tires and new rims, so I wanted to go a taller tire, is they mount and bound it all for free. So this is how they ship. Not the best shipping, but I got some Bridgestone tires, and I'll show you what the rims are, right? Bam! So they're HYPERGRAMS, but these are 18 inches. So these are 18 by 8.5. I know, a little bit wide for what I wanted, but it was just the specs that they had in stock. So these are 5 by 112, so they should bolt directly up. And the tires I got are some nice Bridgestone, not a race tire, nothing like that. They were on closeout. They're 215, 55, 18. So this should be a 28-inch tall tire, more or less, maybe a little bit off, like maybe a 27.5 with this. But hopefully it shouldn't throw any codes. And they look pretty nice. They're Bridgestones. It's not like a cheap, crappy brand, but these were on closeout. They were a $90 a tire, shipped to the house, installed and everything. I got a killer deal on this whole set from Tire Rack. That's why I like going to Tire Rack. So just knock that out. And also what I got in this box over here, a new rear fender, well, new to me from eBay, because like I was saying before, here's my rear fender that as I took it off, it's just disintegrated in my hands for this side. Also, what we got to do is, you see how I have all my intercooler lines? I got to rerun them just because I don't want it to be even coming close to here, and I found out some cool stuff. So if you guys remember how I ran them back in the past, is I had it all up on that shield coming all the way down. I had them going like along fenders, along this. And as you can see, it's a crap load of extra. And it was actually kinked in a lot of places. So we're going to reroute those so it's not in the fender, so I'm not worrying about it ever rubbing. And then we're going to throw our front ones on right now and see how it all looks. Okay, so we got the rim on, and man, that looks so cool. Also, you can see I went to the studs. So the rim is looking so cool compared to the front, or like, they just look so good compared to how they were. But as I thought, now the whole car is sitting like this a little bit. So I'm going to start lifting up this front end because I don't like how close these are to the fenders. And the whole car is like basically raked forward. So I'm going to lift it up to kind of match the same ride height as the rear. The front BCs are pretty easy to do, so we're going to knock it out real quick. Okay, so now we're going to try to adjust it because I want to raise up the front a little bit. So to do this, these are pretty easy on the BCs that come with these. So you crack this nut loose. And then you just could take, it's going to take two hands. You take this and spin it. So to the left, we'll raise it. To the right, we'll lower it. You do not want to raise or lower from here. And also verify that that nut is actually like tight and jammed up because you only want this part to spin. Or you can remove this bottom nut and just spin this bottom. But I'm going to make it, how I'm doing it also is to measure these gaps. So I'm going to try to do 6 1/4 on each side. That should raise me up enough where I'm not hitting. So we're going to try that and see what happens. All right, so we got it to where I think we're good. One other thing I did have to make sure I check. So right down here, you're going to make sure that this distance is even on each side and then that distance. And it wasn't that bad. I did use gloves. I was able to do it by hand to adjust it. But now I want to make sure, just out of my own curiosity, it doesn't matter because I like this setup so much better. I want to see which one's actually lighter. Now, the tire I have on here was not the best tire around, not the lightest tire around, not the stickiest tire around. It literally was the cheapest name brand one that was in stock, $90 tire. So we're going to weigh this setup and weigh this setup and see actually which one was heavier and see if I lost any lbs. All right, first up is going to be the HYPERGRAM, which is 40.6. Now, let me put this one down and grab this one. I don't know why, but this one already feels heavier. All right, so that was 40.6. All right, I'm going to have to get this to reset. Ooh, let me get it on there so you can actually see it. Dang, I cannot get it perfectly on there so you can see. All right. 50.2. That's pretty good. So on the front, that is a 10-pound difference on the front of rotational weight. So a total of 20 pounds of just weight up front, and you times that by 4 because rotational. That's a huge, that's what, 80 pounds technically lost up front. So that should help out this car a lot. And the HYPERGRAMS look so much better than my old kind of combo setup. And also the huge benefit of why I like the HYPERGRAMS is I'm going to show you right now. Now, I probably won't show you. Maybe I'll put a picture somewhere over here. But the factory spare tire for these cars look pretty close to the HYPERGRAMS. I know I have 2 of them somewhere in my attic. I'm not going to spend any time going to look for them. But I'll try to find a picture and like post it somewhere over here so you kind of know what they look like. But let's throw these on. I'm going to lower the car, then let it sit for a while to let it settle. And then I'll just keep adjusting as needed. Okay, so I didn't really do that much driving. I literally just backed it in and out of the garage to get the suspension kind of settle. But here's how it looks. And man, with those white calipers, it is fitting so clean against there with that. So even over here, we're not too bad on the rear. And then on the front, we should have plenty of room up there. It doesn't really look like a monster truck or anything crazy like that. I mean, I think it looks pretty good. We're going to go for a test drive and make sure I don't get any fault codes. Oh, also what I had to do, well, I didn't have to, but if you go look, so in between the rotor, or the caliper, you do have some room, but I added a 5mm spacer just to make me feel a little bit more secure. And it did pretty well. Like, I do like how it looks and everything, so we're going to go for a test drive, make sure I don't get any weird faults, and make sure that the tires aren't like uneven height. That one, I raised that up, like I got a fatter tire like I said, so it should be basically the same, pretty close, we'll go drive around, make sure I get no like ESP faults or nothing weird like that, and see how they hook up before it does start to rain out here in nice sunny Florida. But not bad. All right, so we got the suspension and tires all tightened up and all torqued down and all that stuff. So now we're gonna make sure I don't have any weird faults. As you can see over here, look at my cluster. As of right now, we haven't really drove anywhere. I can turn my ESP on and off. We have up here for data, I'm gonna make sure that I actually can see the wheel speed at the front of the axle and the rear of the axle, because it shouldn't really matter like left side, right side, just should matter front and rear. So we're gonna go test that. We're gonna go do a pool and make sure these tires even hook up in nice sunny Mexico. Well, not sunny because it's kind of cloudy, but it's still 87 degrees out in Mexico at kind of late at night. Make sure I don't hit anything. And then we'll have the windows down so I can hear if I hear any like for any tire rub, which I'm hoping I don't. All right, so we're just gonna do no pulls. So I'm just gonna drive right down the block and make sure I get no faults. We're just driving normal. Go up to like 50 miles an hour. Just make sure there's nothing stupid, no weird noises, and then we'll do some power pulls. And as that, I'm watching this, like, oh, it's looking pretty good. So if you look, it's almost perfect front to rear, it looks like. Might be off by like 1 mile an hour, but pretty close. And we're doing about like 50 miles an hour almost, like what, 47? And it's going smooth, I still have ESP. All right, now let's do a power pull. Car's nice and warmed up. This is not gonna be for like power, like speed. It's gonna be just see if I get a fault. We're gonna try like a 20 pull. These are brand new tires, no heat, no nothing. Ooh, okay, so I just did full lock. I probably should have not done that and waited. But nothing really rubbed. That was 100%. I was not planning to do that, but it worked out okay. So I was doing like a little first gear pull, and I already checked. I had no transmission codes or anything like that before this. So if I have anything after this, I know it's tire related. All right. First gear. We'll try to roll into it, and then we'll do like a hard pull. That went pretty effing good. All right, now I'll try to do like a video of like the screen so you can see that was like no spinning from a 20 pull, and we're gonna do that one more time. Okay, so that hooked up great. I want to do one more pull of like a dig just for fun and just see how much it spins, because 20 pull, I gave it like a lot more aggressive than I normally do, and it hooked up like perfectly, like no spinning, no nothing. So now we're gonna try a dig. I don't suspect it really hooking up too much on a dig. And also remember, I just guessed on this whole suspension setup. Like literally I just like meh, meh, meh. So we will pull back in after I do this one dig and see how it is. I might do another video of a full suspension video of like cameras all around to actually get it to good, but from this just like straight up, just by eye and everything, it's feeling a lot better. All right, so we'll do a nice little diggy dig here in Mexico. Let's just go up past here. Windows up, because I don't think I'm going to hear any tire noise. That way you guys don't hear so much wind noise now. Alright, this is a dig. Alright. Alright, it spun a little bit, but once I let off and hit it, it just hooked and went there. So I think if I actually put heat in these tires or drop the temp, I think it'll hook up so much good. But I want to pull back in and actually rub the tires down and see if there's any hot spots on it, and see if the rims are like, if anything's hitting right now. So that's what we're gonna do right now. We'll do like a little ginger pull just to kind of like make sure everything's hot still. Kick down pull, just. So, unfortunately, I think it was when I did the dig and I went off of the dig again, it sunk down so much where it hit. So if you look right over here, look at my little hairs are worn down. So I think the fender came in and it rode all along here. That's the smell I was smelling, because come and look at the other side. This side, you could see a rub mark right there too. So it definitely at one point sunk in and bumped the fender, because it clips, like, see a little hairs there and not over there. So, and, well, that's all old. So, the tires hook up great. They sit in there good. I just need to adjust my suspension a little bit more. So, for safety, I'm probably going to raise it another like half an inch, because I'm going to actually, in a little bit, probably another video, I'm going to put a lot of cameras on there and take a lot of data. I'm pretty sure the car is now sinking down so much that now it's probably hitting that tire, and that's what the rubbing is, and then it probably bounces off. Now, that's not that bad on the street. Like, I could drive this car right now, and it would most likely be okay. My issue is if I go on a sticky prep and I actually like, hit it hard, it's going to sink down. Like, if you know, if my SLK, if you look past on my old videos or a couple of other videos on the SLK, when it launches, the front tires almost come off the ground and then they hit the fender but then ride out. This car, I think, will actually hit the fender from what it looks like. It's hitting the fender, then riding through it, and I'm going to damage the tires. So I'm going to try to raise the car up like a half an inch or something like that, because I don't want to raise the front too much anymore, because the front's a little bit high up. But the huge benefit to this, those tires hooked up great. There's no grinding noise, no weird noise, no faults on there, no transmission codes, no ESP codes. I got nothing like that. And the car felt phenomenal, and it's like 90 degrees, and I don't even have that much water in my tank. So if you look at my ice tank, because I had to redo my intercooler stuff, I'm doing this with like half a bottle, and that water is boiling right now because I was letting the car sit for so long. So I'm pretty happy with it, but if you guys like the video, if you guys like the channel, throw a like down, throw a comment down. If you guys got any questions about these tires, the specs on the tires, the rears were 17 by 10, 45 offset, I think, and they're 5 by 114s. The fronts are 5 by 112s, 18 by 8.5. So I wish I could have, like I said, went a little bit small in the front, but still 8.5 isn't too bad. That's basically what I pulled off, and I still saved weight on there, and I didn't really save weight in the rear when I weighed everything. They were almost the same. So big kudos to the tires, and I think they look so cool. I'm so happy about it, but now I got to do that stupid rear suspension again. And if anyone knows, the BC rear suspension sucks to adjust. You basically got to drop everything to go up. To go down, very easy to go down, but to go up sucks. So maybe I'll do that today, or I'm probably going to do that later on and just keep going up on up. But until then, hope you guys like the channel. Talk to you guys later.